What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video, I've got 5 very specific twists on the Baccarat Rouge 540 DNA. Now, none of these are exact to the fragrance. If you want Baccarat Rouge 540, you need to spend the money on Baccarat Rouge 540. But that's a little out of reach for some because they just don't want to spend that kind of money. It is very expensive. Don't get me wrong, I understand. So I have some more affordable. I have an option from a very independent, affordable inspiration. I have one of the Middle Eastern ones that I really enjoy, actually 2 of them. I have a more affordable and 2 more affordable niche options that kind of do their spin on the DNA as well. So I figured we'd talk about these 5. Stay tuned. So the first one being the most affordable from discounters online, it's in the $20 some odd price point. I have done a full review on this one in the past. It's a pretty close interpretation of the Eau de Parfum. Again, as with all of these, if you want BR 540 to get the exact experience, you need to get that one. But for a pretty close experience for the most part, Baccarat Rouge 540. This is the Eau de Parfum from Maison Alhambra. They do have a version of the extrait as well. This one's actually quite nice. Has that burnt sugar smell with a little bit of the jasmine, a lot of amber wood. Very rich, but also on the fresher side. Honestly, it's one of the 2 freshest of the 5 that I have here, because the difference here with the Eau de Parfum versus the extrait is obviously a lower oil concentration than the extrait, but there's also a rich almond note. It's a thicker, sweeter fragrance versus the Eau de Parfum. So if you want the fresher of the 2, this would definitely be the way to go. In my experience, this one's a great performer as well. Pretty much a beast on my skin, though this is one that, because it's pretty heavily synthetic, my nose does kind of wear out too rapidly and will come back to life a few hours later, and it still smells pretty much just as strong as when I sprayed it. So one that's maybe worth checking out if you're looking to spend under 30 bucks and you like the EDP's scent profile. You might want to check out Baccarat Rouge 540. Now the flip side of that is the extrait, like we referenced a moment ago. So one of my favorite interpretations that kind of takes their spin on the extrait would be from Sammy Andraus Fragrances. This is called Red Sapphire. You can even see the note breakdown that he used of oils on the back: saffron, almond, ambergris, amberwood, cedar, jasmine, and the saffron almond combo shines here. You still get that burnt sugar smell, but it's sweeter, it's richer, it's a bit more nutty. It's got that bitter almond tone going for it. I've always loved this one. I've always loved this one. This is some good stuff. I gotta, I've worn it a few times. I haven't worn it in a while. I just have so many fragrances that smell of the scent profile that I'm always looking to mix it up. But this is kind of a heavier wear versus the other ones in this video, and it smells really, really good. Almost a slight metallic tone with this as well because of the type of saffron oil that was used here. It's not just spice and sweet. It's very metallic. More metallic than pretty much all of the other ones I find to my nose. So if you want a nice interpretation with a little bit of a twist to it, because it's not exact, it's not a copy of it, definitely inspired by it. It's like Sammy's take on what it would be if he was to create it from scratch, because like I said, it's a kind of a twist. It's not exactly the same because you do get a bit more cedar out of this one than you do amberwood, so it's a different woodsy note overall. Not completely different, but the nuance is a bit different from what you get at BR 540's extrait version. But definitely good stuff. Performs phenomenally as well, because I know it's important to a lot of people. It's Sammy Andraus Red Sapphire. Now this next one's actually discontinued. There's a new version called Ruby Edition that I've never tried. That's supposedly more of the extrait than this is. Supposedly people relate this one to the EDP. I find it's kind of in between the EDP and the extrait, honestly. It's from Haramain. This is Amber Oud Rouge. This is an all-time great inspiration of Baccarat Rouge 540, in my opinion. Performance is great. The quality here is pretty impressive for what it is. The build quality with the bottle, it's heavy. The cap, the bottle, everything's heavy, thick glass, metal, all that good stuff. I've always been a huge fan of this one. Again, I get some of the density and that almondy smell of the extrait with kind of a combination of the freshness of the Eau de Parfum. So I've always kind of deemed it in the middle, maybe leaning a little bit more to the extrait than most people like to give it credit for. Again, because most people say the Ruby edition, which is available on the market now, is more of the extrait. I'm not sure because I haven't tried that one because I have this, so I really don't have a reason to get both. I feel like that would be wildly redundant, which having the extrait and the EDP in general, is all of this is redundant, honestly. But if you can find the Rouge version, it's great, but if Ruby's very similar to it, I'm sure that's great too. So don't feel like you have to go hunt down Amber Oud Rouge. But if you can find it for a decent price, it is a great inspiration. Again, I kind of find it to be a cross between the Eau de Parfum and the extrait because it kind of gives you a little bit of both of what make them different from one another. And that's Haramain's Amber Oud Rouge. Now we're getting down to two of the more popular ones. These are the more affordable niche interpretations that definitely have a pretty hefty twist on them, but they're beautiful fragrances in their own right. And Instant Crush from Mancera is the most nuclear performing of all 5 that we're talking about in this video. This one, heavier on the amberwood and the jasmine. This one's a bit more feminine leaning because Baccarat Rouge 540 is already a feminine leaning scent profile, though tons of guys like to wear it. I'm a huge fan of the scent profile. This one leans a bit more feminine because of it's kind of enhanced on the white floral tone. Again, burnt sugar smell, not as metallic, a little bit more spice on this one. And then you get a lot more of that ambery woody tone, but it doesn't reel back that white floral all that much. It's beautiful. It's even a little bit powdery versus the others, not quite as powdery. This is elegance for a guy to wear, I have to say. This is classy stuff, not the greatest casual t-shirt or like hoodie kind of fragrance that I'm dressed right now. Probably wouldn't reach for this one, but going somewhere in the evenings, even if it's warmer weather, if you're going to be indoors, climate control, so it doesn't matter how heavy of a fragrance you're wearing, just depends on your setting and your situation. That is overwhelming the airspace, and I sprayed the 3 previous ones as well. This is overpowering whatever remnants were still floating in the air. This is a gorgeous fragrance, and at this point you can get it under $100 in that $80 range from discounters for a 4-ounce 120 ml bottle. You don't need many sprays. Again, this is like a nuclear performer, and you know, it's the magnetic cap version with the beautiful atomizer. I would strongly encourage checking this one out if you want the best performing and most elegant of the bunch, but it's also on the synthetic side. It's not the most natural smelling fragrance. Again, that amberwood note, pretty heavy in this one, adds that more synthetic tone. But remember, floral and powdery, it's much heavier on the white floral in this one, so keep that in mind, guys. But it's a phenomenal twist, I gotta say. It's Instant Crush from Mancera. This last one, it's still impressive to me how much you can get it for. It's like 102, 103 from discounters. I paid $100 for it. For 100 ml, it's a pure parfum. It's a citrus-based, very fresh take. I don't find it to be as feminine as the other ones we mentioned. This is much more of a twist and inspiration than the others. This is from Electimuss. This is called Trajan. So Trajan, let me get it to focus. There we go. Trajan is all about the citruses. You still get that sugary, you know, cloudy, cotton candy kind of smell, but it's so fresh and citrusy at the same time. A light woody tone, even a little musky. Not the most masculine fragrance, but when you compare it to the others in this video, it is the most masculine one of the bunch. Beautiful atomizer. That is just so good. And on top of that, it's the highest quality of the bunch, and it's not crazy expensive. It's like 102, 103 USD in the link below. This is the way to go. This really is. This is the way to go of the bunch. Go figure, you know, the most expensive one is the one that I happen to like the most, but that's because of the quality and the twist to make it just as much its own original fragrance as it is something that will remind you of Baccarat Rouge 540 Eau de Parfum. This is kind of their take on it. Were they going for it exactly? Who knows? It smells like there's some inspiration here, but that's the biggest takeaway for me, is it still has that fluffy, airy sweetness to it, but it's got a bunch of citrus in the top that really make this beautiful, fresh, even summertime appropriate take on the BR 540 DNA. So I highly encourage checking this one out, getting a sample if you're interested. That's Electimuss Trajan. Oh, and it performs great. Well, that's the 5 that I wanted to discuss with you today. I haven't updated this topic in a long time. I've touched on this in the past, and we have 2 that return of the 5. I don't know if Instant Crush was in the past, because it's been a couple of years since I've touched on this. But I appreciate you guys for watching. Until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. What's your favorite interpretation of it? Is it something that kind of walks the path but does its own thing? Like these? Or is it something more trying to be very similar in kind of its own take? You know, kind of making it their own kind of thing? Let me know down below. I'll try to have links to all of these. Obviously, Amber Oud Rouge will be difficult. I'll probably have to do like an eBay link or something like that because it's been discontinued for a while. But I appreciate you guys for watching once again. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of the 5 fragrances we discussed in this video and you give them a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.